I wouldn't even have dreamed of standing in front of this gate a few days ago. The stone figurine is a naked woman, a nymph. Huh. The lock on the letterbox seems to be damaged. Empty. Huh. The braces on this door are badly weathered. Two have turned to rust and aren't even connected to the door frame at the bottom. No way. The braces are only connected to the frame on one side, but they're much more resistant than I thought. There's a really thick branch lying in the undergrowth. Looks solid. It's damp, but not rotten. It must have broken off the tree quite recently. Maybe in the storm yesterday. Using this branch as a lever should work. That's it.
Hey! How did you get in here?
The gate was open.
Really? I'll wring that brat's neck. I've told her 100 times that the gate must always stay closed if we don't want yobbos snooping around the grounds.
If you're referring to me, I'm not a yobo. I'm a policeman.
Oh, you don't say. Then you're sure to have ID.
Can I help you, sir?
I've told Mr.
Lewis, good sir. To you, it's just Lewis. You'll take care of this, Bates? Wonderful.
You will have to excuse our gardener, sir. How can I help you?
My name is Falk. I'm investigating a murder that occurred at the lighthouse last night.
I heard about that. Terrible. But tell me, your accent.
I'm part of an exchange program. The United States, Canada, and Great Britain exchange detectives to learn about the various investigative methods. Sherlock Holmes meets Dick Tracy, you might say.
If the government deems it necessary. What about Inspector Collier? Shouldn't he be accompanying you?
He's, sick today.
Ah, I see. He is getting on a bit. How can I help you?
Phew. This is an amazing property.
Indeed. It's a place steeped in history.
Unfortunately, all that history often had plenty to do with blood, death, and misfortune, from what I've heard.
The Gordon family was often put to the test. That's true.
Forgive me for putting it like this, but the castle doesn't make the best impression.
I don't understand what that has to do with your inquiry, Mr. Falk.
A witness saw an unusual black car at the crime scene.
What do you mean by unusual? The Gordon family does have a classic 30s English automobile in its possession.
Unusual enough. Were you up on the cliff with the car this morning?
The ladies haven't driven out anywhere today. And I also don't think that Lewis has taken the car either. Ask him. He looks after the car. Mainly when he should be looking after the garden.
This Lewis has a bit of an abrupt manner.
He's Welsh.
Uh-huh.
He came with his mistress, Lady Eleanor, when she moved in here after the death of her husband. He used to look after her castle's gardens in Wales. He used to have a different kind of work ethic there.
Lady Eleanor owns a castle in Wales?
She does. Her husband, Sir Richard, was killed in a dreadful accident a few years back. She moved here soon after that.
Interesting. You said ladies.
Lady Victoria, she owns Black Mirror Castle, and Lady Eleanor is a relative of hers from Wales. The ladies are the last of the Gordons. They reside here in the castle.
Can I have a word with them?
I would prefer it if you didn't disturb them. Lady Victoria is not a young woman.
No harm in a few words, surely.
Whatever there might be to discuss, you can also discuss with me. I've been involved with the Gordons for more than 70 years. I can tell you everything you may wish to know.
This woman has been murdered. Did you know her?
Are you sure, sir?
Sadly, yes. Her name is Angelina Morgan. You seem to recognize her.
Come with me, sir. We'll have to show this to the ladies.
Fine.
One moment, please, sir. I'll announce your arrival.
What was that in the mirror?
Mr. Falk, their ladyships are ready to receive you.
Mr. Falk, is everything all right?
Yes, thank you. I didn't sleep well. Lady Victoria? Lady Eleanor. My name is Inspector Falk. I'm investigating a murder case.
Bates said you had a photograph of the victim.
That's right. Do you know her?
What's her name?
Angelina Morgan.
I don't know her.
If that's everything.
I do have a few more questions.
It's all right, Bates. Of course, we will be glad to cooperate with the police. Drive to the village and do the job I asked you to do. I'm sure the inspector will keep us company.
Very well, Mom.
So, how can we help you?
You seem to be extremely keen to see the picture of the dead woman, and Bates had a noticeable reaction when I showed him the picture. You are sure that you don't know this young lady?
Quite sure. Only we are concerned. The murder took place quite close to here.
Not the first.
Sadly, you're quite right. It's now. It's 12 years ago, you understand. So many years. And now there's another murder.
Tell me about the series of murders 12 years ago.
No. It doesn't have a thing to do with this crime.
Leave all that alone. Please confine yourself to this murder case. This is quite bad enough already.
Your butler Bates seems to be looking after you.
He has been our butler for decades. He is something like the decent soul of this house. He sees it as his highest duty to do all he can for my well-being. Also, even if he neglects his own welfare.
Is he ill?
Yes, I fear he is. We've often suggested that he sit with us and enjoy some peace and quiet for a while, but he always strictly denies that he can no longer fulfill his obligations. We've recently taken on domestic help to at least help him out a little.
May I look around the castle? I'd very much like to talk to Louis one more time.
Of course. We have nothing to hide. Stay as long as you like. Only please keep away from the private rooms.
That goes without saying, ma'am. A basket of knitting gear. Wool, scissors, and that kind of thing. May I borrow a piece of thread, Lady Eleanor?
Some thread?
Yes, please. About 2 yards?
Certainly. Help yourself.
Thanks. Good. Thread is always useful. I took some of the tear-proof stuff. A huge metal globe. A monstrous thing. There's some letters engraved in the stone plate on the globe's pedestal. There are names. A whole series of them. Wait a minute. The first name is Maximilian Mortimer Gordon. That's the name from Angelina's notes. Does that mean... Huh. I can't hear anything. But the stone slab could be the lid of a secret compartment in the globe's pedestal. And it would be an ideal hiding place for a piece of mosaic. That's the Gordon's family tree. Almost the same as the one in Wales. Huh. It looks as though something's been painted over here at the top. Directly above Samuel and Catherine's generation. Stories, adventures, and fairy tales. Dickens, Defoe, Anderson, Jules Verne. These are probably the most modern books in this library. No. I don't want to look in there again. it's locked. There's probably nothing special inside anyway. The door is locked. An old-fashioned bathtub. Doesn't look uncomfortable, but it would be too small for me. What an effort it must take to keep this old tiled floor so clean. I can imagine Bates checking twice a day to see if any dirt accumulates in the nooks and crannies in the meantime. A pile of towels. Small ones, big ones, nothing but towels. Hello.
Oh, hello. A living soul, here?
My name is Falk, Inspector Falk. I'm a policeman.
A copper? How exciting. I'm Sally.
Do you know this woman?
Never seen her before. Looks a bit like a snob.
I don't suppose there are pictures of all the cooks who have worked here by any chance.
No idea. Must be ages ago, though, since there was an actual cook here. Ask Bates, he knows everything.
I'd prefer not to ask either him or Lady Victoria.
Then I don't know either.
You and Bates, look after everything here?
Well, looking after. Bates does most of that. He lets me do all the dirty work, cleaning, cooking, and all that sort of thing.
Isn't that your job?
That's what he says all the time. But being honest, I'd expected something quite different, you know? I mean, a castle with such knobs living in it. You'd expect the odd soiree every now and again.
Or a cute prince.
Well, Charles is off the market now. But anyone under 80 would do this place a world of good. Sometimes it really does seem like a grave here.
What can you tell me about Lewis?
A disgusting man. Ugh. I was hoping when I started he wouldn't be a snob like all the others are here. But he's just as boring and in a permanent bad mood. I never get more than 3 words out of him.
Is Lady Victoria a good boss?
I don't know. Bates hardly lets me talk to her. When I first came here, I made her ladyship a few suggestions on how she might want to redecorate the castle a bit. Just get rid of a bit of the mustiness, you know? Since then, I always have to ask Bates if I want something from her ladyship.
What's wrong with Lady Eleanor?
What could be wrong with her? Snore. Sits around all day either knitting or reading.
Anything else?
She plays piano for Lady Victoria every now and again. In this house, that counts as having a wild party. You know, it's about time I got myself another position.
You want to leave?
Yeah, sooner rather than later. Maybe to a movie or a pop star's house. Somewhere where things are a bit lively at least.
Can you tell me anything about Samuel's ghost? Apparently it's been seen by a few tourists.
Oh yeah, I've seen it too. At one of the windows. It scared the living daylights out of me. A gruesome face. I hope I'll never see it again.
Huh. That's true. At which window?
I don't remember exactly. I think it was in the Forbidden Wing.
Forbidden Wing.
Yeah, you know, what's behind the locked door in the Yule.
Okay. I won't keep you from your work any longer.
Ah, don't worry about it.
A kitchen range that could really only be found in furniture catalogs of the last century. A few teaspoons. They're all well polished and lined up in a neat row. I'm just gonna take a spoon. A pair of old rubber boots. They're as clean as when they were made, though. Perhaps they belong to Lewis. Who have we got here? Huh. This thieving magpie in a raven suit has something I need. I've knotted the spoon to the thread. You're not gonna free that in a hurry. Let's try it. Look at this! A shiny spoon! An old wooden ladder. It seems to have been used a lot, and the rungs are really worn and smooth. He doesn't like that at all. I gotta be careful. Ravens have got hard beaks that are sharp as knives. They can really make a mess of you. Excellent. Angelina's mosaic piece. A piece of mosaic for a spoon. A good deal for me. Huh. Ralph was talking about a shiny black car. Is this the one he saw? But who drove from the castle to the crime scene this morning? What were they doing there? Lewis toolbox. Various wrenches, a cloth, a hammer, pliers, all the things you need. Huh. I think I'll take the big hammer. I could also use it as a weapon if I need to, which might be the case in this place. Hey, Lewis.
You again? I thought you'd been thrown out.
Lady Victoria gave me permission to have a look around the castle and the gardens.
How nice of her. What do you want?
What can you tell me about the castle?
Nothing. A big, ugly building.
With an overgrown garden.
What have I got to do with that?
Aren't you the gardener?
My garden's a few 100 miles west of here.
In Wales.
That's right.
So you just do the bare minimum here, if at all.
The garden's too big for one man alone, and what's the point in looking after it? This whole place is doomed. The house is falling apart. The lady won't live for much longer, and Bates is as good as dead.
You're hoping that Lady Eleanor will return to Wales when Lady Victoria dies.
Perhaps.
That's a nice car.
Certainly is. The only decent surprise here. I discovered it behind the stables, built it back up from scratch. My father used to work on a car like this, and he taught me quite a bit.
Do you sometimes take it out for a spin? To the coast, for example?
I drive the ladies. They used to still have bloody horses in the stable, but looking after them was too much effort for the old folks. Now, this is the only pair of wheels. But the ladies don't leave the house much at all. Bates usually walks to the village. He says it's good for his health, but every time it takes a bit longer.
You weren't at the coast with the car this morning.
No.
What can you tell me about Lady Eleanor?
If you want to know something about Lady Eleanor, then you better ask Lady Eleanor. She's her own favorite subject.
You mean she's egotistical?
She threw everything away and fled here in a mad rush after Sir Richard died. Who does such a thing?
The castle and the garden in Wales reminded her of her dead husband.
And she should have thought of the family history. You don't just give up an house where generations have lived and worked.
How did her husband die?
He blew himself up, did all kinds of strange experiments. In the last years, he became obsessed with uncovering the secret of what drove Sir William and his sons insane. He hardly left his lab anymore, and collapsed in exhaustion more than once. Her ladyship was very worried.
Bates seems to be very tired.
He's terminally ill. The doctors say it's a miracle he's still alive. But let me tell you, Bates will kick the bucket on the very same day that Lady Victoria dies. Like a dog that follows its master. I think he just finds it unfitting to die before his mistress.
He says he's worked for the Gordons for more than 70 years and that he knows all their secrets.
I'd believe that at the drop of a hat. No one knows the castle and garden better than him. But when it gets to his own bonds, he's getting forgetful. The loyal soul. That's why they've given him Sally, I think.
I met Sally.
The only one in the castle who's not at least 100 and starting to decay.
Is she a good housekeeper?
She's lousy.
She often seems to be in trouble with Bates because of that.
He's the one that chose her, and turned away much better candidates.
Why did he do that?
Yeah, if you're worried about being replaced.
Then you chose the worst possible replacement to stay indispensable yourself.
That's how it is.
Lewis, do you believe in ghosts? Some tourists claim they've seen some here.
Oh, yeah, the reputed ghost. They besieged us for weeks on end after Murray planted that rumour. A whole pack of them completely trashed the garden.
Well, see you later.
Not if I see you first.
castle looks really lived in from here. There's light coming from many of the windows. That way leads deeper into the garden. It's all overgrown and falling apart. I'd be better off staying away. A large double-winged door. It's no different from the others. It's locked. You've only been living here a few years, Lady Eleanor?
That's right. I didn't want to live alone in a big house after my husband died.
So you moved in with your relatives in Willow Creek and brought Lewis with you?
Lewis was our gardener in Wales. He is sometimes a bit difficult, but I didn't have the heart to lay him off. I offered him to come with me and look after the garden here.
Which he doesn't seem to do.
Well, he didn't cope very well with having to leave his garden and his home in Wales.
Tell me about your estate in Wales.
It's a lovely castle. Not as big or old as this one. I haven't been back since we left. I'm afraid it's probably in a terrible condition. And the marsh has probably spread even further. It's terrible. I couldn't stomach seeing our home like that. We had many happy years there.
When did your husband die?
A few years ago, Sir Richard, my husband, was a scientist. He did his experiments in a summer house. I used to joke that he would blow himself up one day. I didn't really believe that that's exactly what would happen.
I'm willing to bet that I was imprisoned in Lady Eleanor's castle. It all fits together perfectly. And the phone call would suggest that it wasn't chosen at random. Did she make her old estate available for the Order to use? Lewis is here of his own free will. I don't understand why he doesn't give this new life a go.
You are young, Mr. Falk. You don't know what it's like having to leave your home behind you. Lewis's roots are in Wales. A tree withers without roots.
Why doesn't he go back then?
I've suggested it to him. I promised him a small amount of money to start him off. First, I thought he would do it. But then he stayed after all.
Strange.
He's a complicated man. He's been working for me for over 20 years, but I still don't have the feeling that I actually know him. I think he blames me for his unhappiness. He only ever speaks to me if it can't be avoided, and I can see that hate in his eyes.
What kind of research was Sir Richard doing?
He had very diverse interests. After the tragedy 12 years ago, he was mainly concerned with, well, with blood.
With blood?
He was convinced that the Gordons' blood must somehow be different from that of other people. I think he was looking for a scientific explanation for all of the misery that has accompanied the family for hundreds of years.
A curse in a test tube.
Insanity is hereditary, as you may know. Why not misfortune?
Or the misfortune is only the result of the hallucinations. That explains what Angelina was looking for in Wales. She was hoping that Richard had found out something interesting before he died. What's behind the closed door over there?
There was a terrible fire here 24 years ago. Samuel's wife, Catherine, lost her life. That wing has been closed off since then. Too many memories, I think.
Did the fire start on the ground floor?
No, on the first floor. The ground floor was mostly spared, as far as I know. But even the rooms below those destroyed in the fire remain closed. Bates and Victoria make sure that no one goes into them.
I see. Was anyone else injured or killed?
One of the cooks was injured, as far as I know. She wanted to help and was badly burned.
I'm going to have another look around. Goodbye, Lady Eleanor.
It's nice to see another face in this house.
Lady Victoria's on the phone. Let's see.
I don't know if it's him. Don't we have a photograph?
Young man. It's not befitting, even for a policeman, to eavesdrop behind closed doors.
I didn't mean to. Pardon me. Were they talking about me? But why should Lady Victoria, of all people, cooperate with the Order? She's got more of a reason than anyone else to want to put an end to the curse.